Okay, we are now moving, from the luxury world into global omni-channel. Now, I will preface this, with, some of our opening, comments this morning where, we clearly stated that probably 10 years ago when we started Guelph, we said, oh, omni-channel is hard enough domestically, never mind, globally, right? But yet here we are, right? I think, we've seen, kind of commitment, from global brands, like Burton, and we're going to hear Jenna tell a little bit about the solo brands, family, and just some of her mandate here shortly. So let's kind of jump right in. Brian, why don't you introduce yourself and your role at Burton?
Sure. So my name is Brian McAllister. I'm the Director of Operations for our Consumer Direct team. What that really means in real life is I manage the order-to-cash technology, all the systems that run the background of our retail and e-commerce world. And for those of you who don't know, Burton is a snowboard brand. Never heard of it. Some of you may have seen the X Games or the 2022 Olympics with Yumu Hirano winning gold medal. He's one of our Japanese riders. So. But yeah, private company. It was founded in 1977. Jake Burton Carpenter was a leader in our sport. He basically worked hand in hand to found the sport, get it into ski areas, get it out there, and unfortunately passed away in 2019. But Donna's still leading the company, and yeah, I've been there for over 10 years.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Jenna, what's going on at Solo Brands?
Well, caveat, it's only been 3 months, so it's all very new, and I'm still figuring it out. But so I'm Jenna Fleetman-Posner. I'm the CDO of Solo Brands. We're a publicly traded portfolio company of outdoor lifestyle brands, namely Solo Stove, which is the most widely distributed smokeless fire pit on the planet. We also own Chubbies, which is a men's swimwear and lifestyle apparel company, and a number of others, Isle paddleboards, Oru kayaks, a bunch of really fun brands. But we're all about putting smiles on people's faces and creating, good moments and lasting memories.
I have the pizza oven. It's pretty sweet.
And we were going to, outfit Brian in some Chubbies for on stage here.
Well, I am head-to-toe Chubbies right now, so women can wear it. Yeah.
There you go. Well, we will show the sizzle reel from Solo Brands in a second, but we did want to put you guys on the spot a little bit. And, we kind of opened up this morning, Kent and I, just talking about how, we've seen this evolution of, kind of business models, changing. And, we see these kinds of, headlines again, really changing, or again, evidence of brands kind of rethinking how do they go to market and how do we balance, have this balanced portfolio, so to speak, of, how we are, really being where the shoppers, really are. So what I wanted to kind of, just, get your reaction to is we kind of flashed this up, kind of earlier. We always talked about the regional e-commerce operations, or a regional build was something that we would often see the biggest global brands start with, right? I mean, they didn't start with cross-border. They have existing, distribution, around the world, and that created, lots of complexity and often channel conflict. What we're seeing, I think, as we've seen, the greater acceptance of omni-channel, within, like all types of organizations, it's not something that you have to generally explain, and so that's, easier to say than to do, right? And hence that's why, we're saying, what we're seeing as this sort of third stage of, global omni-channel, clearly at an immature, stage, but it's really, from order capture, from and fulfillment from regional sites and, platform partners in region distribution. We've talked about distributor e-commerce. I think throughout the day we've been hearing around, a number of, brands who are really trying to get this balance. Does this, kind of, resonate with you? Is this something that Jenna, I'll start with you, and just again, I know we're going to talk about some of your omni mandate, shortly here.
Yeah, I think from a logistics standpoint, we're I mean, look, there are really great technologies and services to help us be opportunistic in our international growth. And so, in our case, we've got distribution centers that we do wholly operate in some of our regions, like Canada and Europe. But then when you want to test out new markets, 3PL is a really great way to do that. So Australia, as an example, is serviced by a 3PL. So, I think for us, it's been a great way to test and learn and determine where we really want to place our bets and where we want to lean in harder and reinvest into creating logistics efficiencies that can help us really create a foothold in a specific region.
And I do think, it's often around, like what you said, where are we placing our bets? As someone said, the bets are bigger right now, right? So again, you got to be, careful in where you do kind of make those bets. Brian, how about you guys? And we're going to talk about, some of your retail stores, in a second here, but global omnichannel seems to be something that Burton is, really leaning into.
Yeah, so I think the hot topic right now in our world is our digital transformation. So we've been undergoing close to 4 years worth of systematic change. We operate in 3 primary regions for our consumer direct business: Europe, Japan, and North America. And a few years ago, we realized that our technology was not going to keep up with the way that we wanted to operate in an omnichannel world. So we started this mission to kind of overhaul all of our systems, all of our technology, you name it, from our point of sale, OMS, everything, all the nitty gritty in there. So with that said, we're now towards the very end of that project, and we have this unique global scalable platform that allows us to really perform these omni-channel functions, whether it is buy online, ship from store. We do that cross-border here in North America. We do it in Europe. We can offer buy online, return in store. So again, we've made major investments to make sure that we're keeping up with the times and meeting kind of customers where they are. It's been a common theme today. So yeah, that's been a big part of this change.
No, and that's awesome. And we won't get into all the gory details, of how you had to rip everything out, but it did really sound like you guys had to.
Those flow charts at the beginning were a little gross, and they're a little bit cleaner now.
Okay, Jenna, sizzle reel time. Let's kind of go to. So, again, with that, and I know my sister-in-law loves her kayak, by the way, as well. But let's talk international. Talk about, you just come on board, you mentioned, where does international fit within, what you've been tasked to do?
Yeah, so it's been interesting, I think, and we've missed a couple acquisitions since this sizzle reel was made. But, I think it's really interesting coming in as a new, fresh set of eyes, trying to understand what should this digital strategy be, right? We're direct-to-consumer. We also have a wholesale channel, but we're direct-to-consumer, right? So digital is kind of like the backbone of our success and of our value in the business. And so, of course, I went back and I watched every earnings call I could get my hands on to try to understand, where's the business been and where's it going and what does our leadership believe and what our strategy should be. But I got to really come in and take this fresh set of eyes to determine where do I see the low-hanging fruit and opportunity as we look into 2024. And so I kind of leaned into 3 things. One is obviously international growth, right? One is all about really benefiting from the work that we've done to get logistically and infrastructurally into these European, Canadian, and Australian markets. It's not easy to do, and we've done it. So how do we really capitalize on that? And my opinion is that it's all about infrastructure. It's all about tech, resiliency, scalability, and that's something that we need to work on tremendously. It's why I'm here. The second piece is, as you can see, and I mentioned, there's 2 missing here. We've gone through a series of acquisitions. So in 2021, we actually IPO'd, and then we went through 5 subsequent acquisitions after that. So it's been crazy, which is amazing. But through those acquisitions, we acquired things like product and people and technology and facilities and manufacturing and all sorts of opportunities, but we also acquired a ton of customer data. And so the second prong to our strategy going forward next year is really focused on how do we put that cross-brand data to work. I could go deep there all day. And then the third piece is really about omnichannel. And I say omnichannel as someone that was on the traditional retail side for a while, right? I worked for Snipes. I was the CDO of Snipes for 4 years. Snipes is a global sneaker and streetwear retailer based in Europe, came to the US in 2019, built that business to about $1 billion business over 4 years. But we had 308 stores. And so I had to, much like you're dealing with, is deal with putting the pipes in place to help utilize things like store inventory and position to meet our customers where they are. And I think that we have a very unique opportunity as a direct-to-consumer business to look at our wholesalers in a very similar light. So how does inventory position with Costco and Walmart and Dick's Sporting Goods and all of our wholesale distributors? How could that inventory play a part in driving conversion, customer acquisition? And that's going to be really hard. That's like a really hard task. But I'm super bullish, and I think it's going to be innovative and different, and I want to do it.
And I want to come back to some of the omni-channel initiatives, and you know, again, what I was reading of your CEO kind of being quoted on how important that is. But let's talk international. I mean,
Sure.
So far, have you read the tea leaves to say, okay, where are your priorities kind of going forward with your family brands?
Yeah, so international is certainly high on the list. Again, infrastructurally, I think we need to become a little bit more mature. But even from a marketplace perspective, I was having conversations today. You know, it's like we've leaned so deeply into Amazon, but you know, in reality, Amazon might not be the #1 destination for consumers in Europe to go to actually find and explore new products. And so, getting more of a commitment to localization, really making sure that we're speaking in the brand voice of the consumer. Finding new tools around translation, and you know, all of our time spent in these international markets is still very, very new, and we have a long way to go. But we're committed to building those practices and those muscles and utilizing technology to expedite it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Brian, let's talk about your retail affiliate models. So that's really where, you know, it sounds like, you know, you and your team have been very busy kind of, you know, with this whole channel, you know, really, and explain what they are, and again, you know, where they are, and you know, why that's so important, you know, to the business overall.
Sure. So it kind of starts in the beginnings with, you know, our history in developing the sport of snowboarding, right? We started out in these small mom and pop shops, and you know, that was really our business there for some time. As the sport grew, we got into larger and larger wholesalers, and then eventually, you know, within the last 10, 15 years, we, you know, realized that, hey, we want to do some portion of our business as direct, with the goal that we're very close to of having wholesale be 50% of our business and direct being the other 50%. So part of that model has included our affiliate partner model with our stores, where, you know, we've got these long-term relationships with wholesalers who do a great job in the retail space as well. Maybe they're in a location that we want to be. Maybe they're in an unproven market where they're more experts than we are at the time. So we've been able to create some really cool affiliate partnership commission models with a few stores globally. So we have some in Europe, some in Japan, and some in North America with our really core partners, where it's a Burton branded store. They own the lease, they handle the folks working in the store, and we provide the systems and the inventory. So kind of a shared risk model, if you will, shared success. So kind of a cool opportunity that we're looking at to continue to expand door count. But again, we're not trying to grow too rapidly. We have a customer that expects us in a certain space, whether that's a mountain town, located near ski areas, colder climates, that type of thing. So not looking for insane door growth, but, you know, making the right partnerships, and this has been a cool way that we've been able to do it.
I know your colleague Jeff, you know, had shared with us, you know, prior to the Beijing Winter Olympics, you know, where again the flagship stores, you know, being built, you know, like in Shanghai, you know, where so much around, you know, educating, you know, a population that didn't, you know, grow up skiing or boarding or anything like that. So again, that's great. Talk a little bit around, you know, the importance of the data capture as well.
Absolutely. So that's one of the biggest shared benefits there of this affiliate partner model. Again, we're getting to tap into you know, more information about our customers that are maybe showing up to our partner that then we get access to. So again, there's shared benefits there, because again, it's been a common theme all day. Customer information is key, right? How do we better serve these customers? How do we market to them? All those things. It's super, super important.
So let's build on that, Jenna, because again, I'm reading a quote here from your CEO. Our omni-channel approach to our business enabled us to lean into the strong momentum we're seeing through our wholesale channel as our brand awareness, continues to grow. And I've seen, some of the Dick's, programs and so on. Where does data fit into that?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the traditional model, it's a sacrifice. Right? It's and I think traditionally, you're going to see a dip in customer acquisition in some of your core products because these consumers are buying your products from the brands that they trust, the Walmarts, the Costco's, the Dick's Sporting Goods. I think this vision for omnichannel that we aim to bring to market is really about mitigating that data loss, and I'll kind of walk you guys through the vision. So keep me honest here, right? Tell me I'm crazy. So the concept here is to get these wholesalers to actually share inventory position with us, and for us to actually expose that inventory position proactively as consumers engage. So you're on PDP, you're picking your pit, you happen to be 2 miles away from a Dick's Sporting Goods. We say, hey, you're 2 miles away. Do you want to go to Dick's and get it? Do you want to buy online, pick it up in store? And if the answer is they want to buy online, pick up in store, the benefit to that situation is that we get to keep the customer data, but we also get to drive our customer base across the lease line of that Dick's Sporting Goods. And so there's a scenario where everyone kind of wins, where we kind of use the performance marketing muscle that we have fine-tuned over the past few years to help drive acquisition, drive consumer foot traffic into our wholesale distribution partners, and everyone kind of wins in that scenario, but we also drive the throughput of their products. And so we de-risk the product that these wholesalers are actually holding. And in theory, what would happen is the flywheel is just going to move faster and faster. So replenishment's going to be faster, and we're going to start churning through product more effectively while maintaining all the customer data so we can drive them back to come buy accessories or come buy the latest launch or try to get them to convert over to Chubbies and get a swimsuit. So, this kind of work is not easy. I got to go through it on the, when I owned the actual fulfillment site, when I owned the store. So this is certainly going to be different, but there is a scenario in my mind where we can convince the wholesaler to actually give us their performance dollars that we can pump into the market, knowing that they're going to get the benefit of throughput.
And yet that must take time to kind of build that trust to a point where, yeah, we'll share our data with you. How does that play into international, strategies where again, it's going to take time, right?
I mean, it's a great question. I mean, I think being so established in the U.S., from a domestic standpoint, we have a really good opportunity to test and learn. It's not foolproof that what we learn here is going to be applicable in Europe, but it's certainly a data point that we'll use to drive our strategy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, again, it sounds pretty plausible to me. Again, I'd like to hear from the audience.
Let's talk next year about it and see how it goes.
Brian, what else, is happening from, a Burton standpoint? Last night, for example, we were talking about the some retail affiliates actually become owned stores. Is that kind of a common?
Yeah, sorry, not to cut you off there. We've had that opportunity come up before in our history where, we did have a partner store and then eventually they wanted out of that business and we were able to take over, and the market was there. We knew that our customers were there, and we felt confident that we'd be able to run it. So again, not only have we gone, more towards the partner, but we've actually taken some partners back that were like, we want to get out of that business, and we've kind of flipped it into a flagship store. So
yeah, no, I thought that was really interesting. Again, just the point in the last session or 2 sessions ago around flexibility. Yeah. Right. Again, having that flexibility to almost evolve, some of these channels, I think, is really, really fascinating. Talk to us a little bit around kind of inventory and where you have inventory around the world. And
it's a hot subject.
Hot subject, and it sounds like that kind of drives the bus sometimes.
It is, and again, inventory is the basis of everything. So just to give some background on our business. Again, we are a winter-based brand, so if you haven't put it together, that drives, some severe seasonality to our selling season, right? So come March, we don't want to have anything left, right? You always have some product left, but we basically have a 5 to 6 month window to really move through a ton of inventory. So that is a huge challenge for us. So that kind of leads us to this whole shared inventory. We want to make sure, all these digital transformation investments we've made have allowed us to really see our inventory very clearly. We invested in OMS that we can easily see our store inventory. We can see what's on the web. And that's been integral for our success so far over the past couple of years since we launched that. Looking ahead for our business, it's really becoming a conversation around, okay, not only do we want to look at the direct inventory, we know that we've got partners out there, partners with marketplaces, another hot topic that I've heard multiple times today, but kind of that's like the next frontier for us is taking that open and available inventory in real time, and how do we start sharing that across different marketplaces? So that's kind of really our strategic vision is, let's stop calling it our own direct. Let's just look at this whole thing. It's our consumer. It's out there. How do we service them with whatever inventory we have available, whether it's direct or wholesale, free and available stock. So it's just becoming all one big pool. So super exciting.
I think there's a couple of vendors out there that can help you out.
Awesome.
Where do you have DCs around the world?
So we are fortunate enough, again, it probably has to do with the size of our product and the amount of it, but we do have regional distribution centers in each of our major markets. So I heard Columbus, Ohio. So again, we're also in Columbus, Ohio for North America. That's pretty unique. We do have we call it our One North American DC. So we actually service US and Canada out of our Columbus facility. We have one in Germany for Europe, and then we have one in Tokyo for Japan. Another interesting part of our business too is we have an Asian distribution center in mainland China that we do some fulfillment out of for all of our regions for bigger, bulkier products.
So they serve the entire region in a cross-border model.
Depending on the vendor's location, the size of the product that we're dealing with. So.
I mean, Jenna, this is probably something you're thinking through right now, right? In terms of, okay, how do we optimize our inventory across the family of brands here? Is any conclusions yet, or is that something we're going to have to invite you back to tell us?
Yeah, no, it's certainly a muscle that we're building right now. From a distribution center standpoint and from an operations standpoint, and again, 3 months in, but I got to take a look at the business. I would say from a financial standpoint and from an ops perspective, we're incredibly mature. It's really impressive. We're talking robots and all sorts of cool stuff going on. Our distribution centers are in Dallas, Mexico, Utah, and Pennsylvania here. And then also we have DCs in Canada, Rotterdam, and the 3PL in Australia. So, pretty mature. Super impressive.
Yeah, that's interesting. And again, if your omnichannel kind of vision really unfolds, then you're going to have lots of little mini.
It's going to be complicated for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. In the time we have left, I just did want to open things up. If there's any questions from the crowd. Again, we are lucky to have these two up here. They've both been very kind of open in sharing some of their story. Jenna, what's happening? Are there more Dick's-like, kind of partnerships, coming? Anything, that you can talk about?
How do I answer questions like that? I'll say our wholesale channel is growing. It's exciting. It's definitely a part of our business to watch.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And marketplace, you've already kind of alluded to, or going to be part of the equation. But have you defined what's their role in all of this mix? Is or is that still kind of an open question?
I think as we continue to waver back and forth between FBA and what we call FBS, which is fulfilled by Stove, I think that's going to continue to evolve as well. Obviously, there's more economies if we're fulfilling the product, and so I think we're going to continue to try to head that direction. But Marketplace puts a big burden, logistically on the business. So navigating that and also having the option of utilizing Amazon for fulfillment is also very helpful, and it gives us the ability to move faster and have redundancies and support from Amazon, but we also want to drive profitability through the business, and so we're going to continue to kind of turn the knobs and tweak it and make it more efficient over time.
Yeah, that's why, again, we're kind of taking a look at marketplace channels to see when will they start sharing data as well. And some I think are, and it is selectively. So I think that adds, a whole nother dimension, where it's like, okay, now there's a little more value kind of coming from actually selling through you. Brian, any marketplaces, kind of, consideration, at Burton?
I think what we're trying to do right now is figure out how do we do it right? Because we know marketplaces are going to be a big thing for us in the future, and you guys have probably all experienced this in your everyday business life, is you integrate one way and then another marketplace wants you to do it the other way. So we're trying to really think things through and figure out, what is our strategic plan here with marketplaces? How do we, plan for dealing with the best of the best marketplaces and do that in a scalable way so that, as we become more proficient in working with these marketplaces, that we can continue to expand gracefully, so to speak. So, yeah.
Well, and with the degree of brand control that you would like, over that experience, and then, again, those are things that we're looking at closely. Well, with that, unless there is any other questions, I would like to thank Jenna and Brian very much for joining us here. We definitely want to hear updates as things are progressing. So again, let's give them a round of applause and. We're going to go to a break right now. So again, short break, and then we're going to be going right into the peer meetups. So again, have a note of the different topics, and please join in on some of these networking opportunities.